Hello, my name's Michael Casey. I'm the publisher of two online newspapers, two hyperlocal online newspapers. I'll explain what I think that means in a second. Your Thurrock launched on September the 1st, 2008 and has since then taken a long time to build up an audience. But so for example 2010 we got 85,000 uniques in the whole year of 2010. This year, so far, we're on 950,000 uniques and page views around 2.5 million. Your Harlow we launched on July the 1st, 2013 through a grant from the Carnegie Trust and going along steadily, which sounds a bit vague, isn't it? Again, it's probably like 2009 or 2008 for your Thurrock, you know, so we're on about 35,000 page views. So getting there, but a long way to go. I guess it's this which sometimes distinguishes us, because we do film quite a lot of our news, and one of the things that Cardiff University wanted me to speak about is things like council meetings and filming our council meetings, and it's just another string to our bow really, whether it's our pen or our pad or audio. Whatever we do, just to film our council meetings allows us a bit of flexibility, and it's transparency and democracy. People like to see that. You know, the argument, the ship has sailed regarding, you know, permission to film meetings, etc. You know, there's still probably a lot of councillors who don't like it, but nobody's said it to my face. But the thing, I think my face is a key term, because what I like about filming council meetings is that you can't minute body language, in short. And so when you're down there in the hyperlocal, the grassroots, and you see a councillor say something and another councillor either disagrees or looks uncomfortable, that's the little thing I like, and which is important, especially compared to, and this is not a criticism, each to his own and etc., of other newspapers which you've got young journalists doing live blogs. And I find what's the danger with that is you're turning journalists into stenographers. Their head is down all the time and not really looking up. And then, you know, and these ones without a lot of experience, you need to have your head up. I used to use the analogy about cricket. You're not going to catch anything that slips with your head down. So that's the way I look at it. But it just helps. As I say, it just helps. And actually, you can have collaboration. You know, Harlow Council, you know, we collaborate with, you know, in that shape, which sounds a bit vague, but Thurrock less so. Let's just put it like that. One of the other issues that Cardiff Uni asked me to talk about as well was the BBC Charter, and I'm still in two minds about the whole BBC Charter. In one way, you know, when it comes to local newspapers and the relationship, people, I don't have a relationship. Say BBC Essex, I don't have a relationship with BBC Essex. You know. In fact, from very rare examples, I've never had anybody interact with us or talk to us. You know, they'd come in and you know, not say hello. You know, not say who I am. I don't have anybody's business card, so I have no relationship. So, as regards the charter, I see it's quite simple, isn't it? That handmade production, Talkback Productions make The Apprentice. The BBC commissioned Talkback Productions to make The Apprentice. Seems, you know, I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I like The Apprentice. Endemol are commissioned by the BBC to make Pointless, and I like that. So why can't BBC commission Hyperlocal News Limited to make news in Thurrock or Harlow? And produce a certain, like Pointless produces X amount of programmes per year, we'll produce a certain amount of programmes per year. Because I guess that's where I guess they're coming. Are you getting value for money? So, for example, talk about filming. If I guess at the moment the situation that some parties or the government might be looking at is, I'll go and film a news item with a say JCB. Steal, you know, thieves, JCB, ATM, wrench it out the wall, go away, police are searching of it. So I'll go and panning shot, do a voiceover, etc., go away and do it. And then a few hours later, or many hours later, BBC crew will come, you know, 40-mile, 50-mile round trip and do the same thing really. Well, their product might look better at the moment, but and that's arguable as well. And so I guess they're saying, and what value is that with the taxpayer? Because I guess it's about politics and economics. You know, I'm not talking about the aesthetics, etc., or showing interest in the in the area. Are BBC in Essex interested in Thurrock? I guess you ask them how many scoops they've got. They could say, right, in the 7 years, September the 1st, 2008 to today, how many scoops have you got in exclusives in Thurrock? And if their answer is none, then you'd say, why is that then? Either you're not very good, or you don't have resources going into it, or you're just not interested. Because it must be one or the other. Or maybe it's the thing, well, you're just waiting for somebody else to do stuff and ride on the back of it. Or as one BBC Essex journalist once said to me outside Basildon Magistrates Court, just after the riots in 2011, oh, you're the guy, yeah, we like your stuff, we nick a lot of your stuff, quote unquote. But I guess a recent scenario was when we were at a council meeting, Thurrock Council meeting, and one of the items was the council planning to pilot issuing parking tickets, staff issuing parking tickets outside schools. Just another item I was looking at, so I recorded, next day upload, start putting items on, and during the day I noticed on social media there was quite a lot of interest in the article, comments and reach on Facebook of the story. Later on that day, Radio 4 contacted Thurrock Council about the trialling parking tickets, staff issuing parking tickets outside school, because there's a sort of image, isn't there, of teacher finishes at 4:45 and then dons a traffic warden outfit and starts issuing parking tickets. But Radio 4 contacted them, and Thurrock Council said, oh, where'd you get the story? They said, oh, you're Thurrock.com. And next morning, James Naughty interviews the leader of Thurrock Council, and all that next day, nearly every media outfit is knocking on Thurrock Council's door, thinking this is a great story, etc., and wants to look at it. I had no real bother either way that they'd found my story first. I think there are still people who go, "Oh, the BBC used your story." I go, "Yeah," and whether I should sort of be really excited or burst into threepenny bits and start a bank. Not really, but one of the things I did decide to do on my busy day that I had was about a month ago. I had made a submission into Hyperlocal Views, when they were looking, as the BBC are looking for our viewpoints, etc., and my viewpoint is very much this could be the beginning of a meaningful relationship or not. But you think if it's just going to be sort of hashtag local live, then hashtag turkeys voting for Christmas. And that's what I more or less said. Now I went back to that, made another submission on the back of this story, and I said that the stereotype of people I speak to, not necessarily, recent people I've spoken to. I actually did mention that 2 weeks previous I had interviewed John Whittingdale in Old Harlow, that my local MP is the deputy chairman of the Conservative Party now, Robert Halfon. But I said the stereotype that some people have is that the BBC sit in their offices, surf the web, find for local news and find one, and then go and ride on the back of it. Now I don't know if is that a good thing or a bad thing, because I did say in this part, he lives without sin cast the first stone. We've all certainly paid homage or whatever, within the strict rules, etc., of acknowledging, no plagiarising, but you all still do that with your mining for stories, but I don't ask for, I guess, for whatever it is, how much tens and tens of millions of taxpayers' money, I suppose, is the difference. And I just guess that story sort of just conformed to the stereotype that some people with political motivation want to see the BBC do, because you do that, well, that's what repetition is that, why don't we cut out the middleman? So that's what I put in my submission, and then I thought more of it and went to and wrote to my MP and a cross section of people, including our partners, because a thing I forgot to mention is your Thurrock is now a partner with Local World. So I wrote to our partners, our MPs, people like Will Perrin that talk about local, several other people, and just gave that scenario. But I gave it as a sort of link in the chain of evidence, a piece of testimony, saying that it just seems that if that happens now, the BBC, I guess I'm wondering if BBC are being found guilty of doing that, or being charged with doing that, and they might say, well, not guilty, and is it a crime? But I'm just wondering where we're going on this. And as I said, I don't have the answers, and I don't know what's good, etc. I just think it's out there, and I'm doing this piece for Cardiff just to explain where I am, which is probably saying I don't know where I am on all this, but doubt is the key to knowledge, I guess. But it's and when I spoke to people in Cardiff, they told me others from John O'Groats to Land's End or Wrexham.com to On the White, have this similar experiences. So there you have it. I think it's interesting times, but I think at the same time we talk about this. There are a lot of people worried about their jobs. You can tell from across the BBC, from John O'Groats to Land's End. I think we've got to remember that it's not this amorphous anonymous organisation. It's people, jobs, and livelihoods. So very well for us to attack the BBC, but let's remember these things. And put it in perspective, and I like to think that there's partnership working. That doesn't mean anybody's going to lose their job at Christmas. Then that's got to be a good thing. And I think we're as responsible. All hyperlocals are responsible to having some form of partnership. And I think it should work like across the ways. That might sound a bit cheesy, but that's what I like to see. I'd like to see over this period of time that further partnerships forged and people can work together. Because as our industry, these are challenging times, and I think through that strength can come a rosier future for online news and news in general. Thanks very much.